I'm going to try a quick overview of what design is all about so you can apply these to your posters, okay? So basically, design, I've got you a sheet that says curveball, and all curveball is a mnemonic device that's designed to help you remember something, okay? So, for example, have you ever heard the one for the Great Lakes? How to remember the Great Lakes? Anybody know that one? Nobody? It's Holmes, H-O-M-E-S. So if you take H-O-M-E-S, you can remember H is Huron, O Ontario, M Michigan, E Erie, and S Superior. So it's a way to remember something. So curveball is just a device to help you remember the elements of design and composition, okay? So each one of those letters stand for something, except for the A-L-L, we're just going with the B here, okay? So number one is repetition. And notice I got two letters that are in red. Those are the most important. So write that on your sheet, okay? If you remember anything, remember these two letters, R and B, repetition and balance, okay? And repetition has got some subcategories. So in a good design, some things have to repeat, okay? So these are the things that have to repeat. Write those down. Color, line, shape, texture, and pattern. Now, color, line, and shape for sure. Sometimes texture and pattern, okay? So, and I'll show you some examples of that in a little bit. So next is balance, okay? Balance, there's two types of balance. So there's two subcategories here. So if you look at my thing here, you're gonna see that there's symmetrical and asymmetrical balance. Write that down. And balance, really, when you're talking about visual things like paintings or posters or drawings, we're talking about even distribution. Things are distributed evenly in your project, okay? Next, the other letters. Here's what the other letters stand for. And I kind of put them, I don't know, in order of importance. Repetition and balance are the most important. The other ones are important, but not as. So next we have unity. And you can write this after unity. Repetition creates unity. Repetition creates unity. Okay? Next, we've got variety. Variety just means there's enough things that are different in the picture to make it look interesting. They make it look nice. Okay? If your poster was all just black and white, it's not going to be as neat as if it's got a variety of colors and a variety of sizes and shapes in it. Okay? Emphasis. Emphasis is another word for center of interest. There's something that stands out in your picture, in your design, that's either a different size, color, or shape. Sometimes all three of those. Now, emphasis could be something huge, like at St. Peter's Church, it's the tower. It's the one thing that's gigantic. It's different in every other part of the church. That would be the center of interest, the area of emphasis. But if you go to prom and a guy's got a tuxedo on and it's black and white and he has a little flower, that little flower might be your center of interest because it's something that's different. It's something that stands out, okay? So I like this little poem, and it basically got a little rhyme. Center of interest can be big like a tower or small like a flower. Something that's different that stands out, okay? And next is contrast. Contrast just means you can tell a difference between things, okay? So like, for example, if I have a drawing and it's a black background, and then my lines and my colors are dark purple, I'm not going to see it very well, okay? So contrast just means difference. The colors are going to be different next to each other, okay? So as far as balance, symmetrical balance is even balance. That means it's kind of like that heart there. You know, if you have a paper heart and you divide that heart down the middle, it's symmetrical. It's the same on both sides. Okay, so this teeter-totter, this seesaw, is, even though the kids are different, it's basically, you'd call that even balance because they're about the same size. Got that? So symmetrical means even balance. Okay, this is unbalanced. Okay, you got too much on one side, which totally unbalances it. So here's a picture of something that's unbalanced. Okay, and last, we have asymmetrical balance. Asymmetrical balance means it's not exactly the same on both sides, but the weight or the distribution is about the same. Got that? Now, when you're talking about a picture, though, you're talking about, you don't want all your reds on one side and no reds on the other side. Or you don't want all your reds on the top and no reds on the bottom. You want those reds kind of evenly distributed throughout your picture, okay? So this is uneven balance. This is balance that balances, but it's not uneven. It's different than symmetrical, okay? So once again, we've got repetition, okay? We got balance, symmetrical and asymmetrical. We've got an even distribution as balance. Unity just means all things fit together. So I think if you take a look at this curveball design here with the guy throwing the ball, okay? When you think about it, look at the things that are repeating here. There's colors repeating, the blue hat, blue streak, blue letters. Black letters, black shoes, black belt, black stitching, okay? We've got curves repeating. So we got colors repeating. We got a lot of curved lines. Notice the curved balls on a curved line. Notice the curve here, the curve on the circle. His back's curved a little bit. There's a curved oval right down here. Even the style of lettering, the font, like this V and the R, there's curves in those. So once again, we've got color that repeats. We got lines that are repeated that are curves, okay? Shapes just means what kind of shapes are repeated. And a lot of these curves and shapes are pretty similar. We got round shapes that are kind of repeated, or curved shapes like this oval and the ball and this here. Texture just means if there's any textures or patterns. Now texture might be like a sculpture might have a rough texture to it in one area and a rough texture in another. But usually two-dimensional designs like this, we're not talking about texture. And patterns. This one really doesn't have a pattern. Also, look at the gray that's kind of in his jersey. That same sort of bluish gray is in the ball here as well, okay? So next we've got variety, and variety just means not everything's the same. So you've got blue here and blue, but then we also have red, and we got black, and we got light blue, and we got a skin color. So there's a variety of colors, variety of sizes in there, okay? Emphasis. On this particular graphic design here, what's the area of emphasis? What's the one thing that stands out because it's a different size, shape, or color? What would it be, Addison?
The ball in person.
I think the ball, okay? The ball, it's the only thing that's a total circle. It's bigger than everything else, and it's got red on it, okay? It's the one thing that's different than everything else. It stands out, area of emphasis, okay? And then we have contrast. So here's a packaging design. And if you look here, just really quick, what kind of colors repeat? You can obviously see we've got green here, and we've got green up there, and a little light green in there. We've got blue lettering, blue lettering, blue lettering. We've got white here, we've got a white spot there, we've got white lettering here. So we got colors that are repeating, okay? Then what else? We've got lines that are repeating. Notice the curved line here, curved lines on the cap and the whole bottle. Curves here, large circle, so a lot of curved lines. But then we have some straight lines. This font is in a straight line here, straight line. So we got horizontals and a lot of curved lines in this, okay? Area of emphasis, what's the one thing that stands out because of different size, shape, or color? Which one is it? Josh, what stands out because of difference? The eyeball. It's the only thing that's totally round. Notice it's the only thing that's got black in it as well. Just like the ball had some red stitching in it, okay? And this happens to kind of look like a fish if you look at it sideways. Next, unity. Unity just means everything fits together, okay? So on this design, really quick here, Maggie, what kind of things repeat? What kind of shapes repeat?
Circles.
A lot of circles. Big round circle head. His ears are kind of circles. His snout, his nose, his eyes, the bottom of his feet. His whole body's kind of round. Okay, now he's got a texture that repeats too, and it's this fuzzy texture all over, okay? How about colors that repeat? We got the tan here repeating. We got a kind of a brownish color here. Now this isn't just kind of a shadow there, but we got the same color in the eyes as the toes on the bottom of the feet. So we've got colors that repeat, okay? We've got shapes that repeat. We've got lines that repeat. We've got textures that repeat, okay? What's the center of interest? What's the one thing that maybe stands out because of different size, shape, or color, or texture? Josh?
The ribbon.
I think the ribbon. The ribbon's the one thing that's different, okay? But once again, this has a unity to it. Everything fits together. Now, if you found this same design and it had a sharp metal horn sticking off the top, it would have disunity. Got that? The horn doesn't belong. This whole thing is soft and round and cuddly looking, and then you get this sharp metal horn sticking out of it. It doesn't make sense. It has disunity. Follow me? Okay. So, for example, if I've got a building and this building's all made out of natural materials and that same building has got a glass dome on it, okay, that would have disunity because the glass dome, the glass and metal doesn't fit with the rugged natural materials that the building has. Got that? Okay. Here's some other examples. Here's another packaging design. Really quick, you can see the colors that repeat, the orange and the golden colors, and we've got red repeating here, and we've got a gold repeating here and things like that. How about shapes that repeat? Really quick, some shapes. Go ahead, Claire.
Circles.
Yep, some circles or ovals, I would say. A lot of ovals. What else? Yep, Josh?
Kind of triangle?
Yeah, triangles. We got a big triangle here, a triangle there. How about what kind of lines repeat here? What kind of lines? How would you describe the lines? Aubrey. What kind of lines are repeating? When I talk about lines, are they horizontal, are they vertical, are they curved? What kind of lines? A lot of curved lines, okay? There's also diagonal lines. Notice the diagonal here, the diagonal in a triangle. Even look at the letters. The letter B is on a diagonal, and so is the I and the T. Even the top of the letter B is cut off on a diagonal. This thing is dominated by diagonals, okay? Center of interest. What's the center of interest? Jordan. What stands out because different size, shape, or color? What's the center of interest, Jordan?
The Ritz.
Yeah, the big Ritz. It's the only thing that's navy blue. It's bigger than everything else, and it's the only thing that's totally round. Okay? So it's got an obvious center of interest. Here's a graphic design, and it's pretty simple, but think about the lines. All the lines are sort of curvy and irregular everywhere. Okay? The cord, her body, her hair, her hips, her arms, everything's sort of curvy. Okay? And then you've got colors that repeat, obviously gold and black and black. Okay? How about center of interest? So it's the one thing that's different, that stands out because of different size, shape, or color. Eddie?
The earbuds and iPod.
Yeah, the earbuds, and I would say the iPod. The iPod is the only thing that's totally straight. Okay? It's rectangular and it's white. It stands out. Okay? Now, as far as balance, not every design is perfect. And this one's got white here, and white here. I think it needs some white on this side. So I think a better idea might be to take like this lettering here and maybe move it over to here so that white has a little bit more even distribution. It's a little better balanced, okay? So here is that same design with that white moved over there, okay? Here's architectural design. Really quick, what kind of shapes repeat here? Come on, what kind of shapes repeat? What do you see? Jordan.
I would say half ovals all over.
Yeah, well, you got this big curved dome. You've got a curve here. You've got a curve here. You've got curved windows. You got curves up here. You got tons of these half round shapes repeating and a lot of curves. Everything about this church has got curves on it, okay? Now look at the texture. We've got this stained glass here. It's also here, okay? Now there's one thing in this building that stands out because of different size, shape, or color. I think it's the door. It's a little different. It's dark and it's rectangular. Everything else is sort of curved. Got that? So what gives this unity? Curves. It's dominated by curves. That's what gives it a unity. What makes it stand out? This one area here that's rectangular. Okay? Even the landscaping is done sort of to go with it. Like you notice the roof of the building's blue. We've got this blue pond here in front. Even the rounded bushes, I think, are similar to the rounded windows up here. So even the landscape fits with the building. Okay? And it's hard to see, but there's these little spikes coming out here, and there's little repeated patterns here of little circles. That same repeated pattern is on the edge of the building right here, okay? Here's one of those murals by Shepard Fairey. And once again, give me what's the center of interest? What's the one thing that stands out? It's a different size, shape, or color. Maggie. The girl. She's bigger, she's bolder, she really juts out. She's the center of interest. Your poster has those same features. Something that's bigger that stands out, okay? Now look at the balance here. We've got red, 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 red. That red is evenly distributed. The dark blues are evenly distributed. They're dark blue here, 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 up there, here, okay? And notice even there's patterns here and there's patterns over there and there's patterns here, so he's distributed the patterns. This sort of jagged line is repeated everywhere in these ripped-like patterns that are all over the place. So this has all the elements of design. Okay, it's got repetition, it's got unity, it's got balance, it's got variety, and it's got emphasis, something that stands out because of different size, shape, or color. Okay, one more. Okay, obviously we got colors that repeat. We got these curvy lines that are everywhere, all over the picture. Okay, we've got an even distribution of color. Notice even we've got a lot of gold up here, and this one word is gold to balance it out so it's not just red down here, okay? Note center of interest. What stands out because different size, shape, or color? Josh? The people. They're bigger, they're bolder, they're kind of offset here. Now, center of interest doesn't necessarily mean center. It doesn't have to be in the center, okay? So basically, design as it can apply to packaging design, it can apply to architecture, it can apply to graphic design, and that's what we're doing right now. So your poster has to incorporate these design qualities in it, okay? So those things you have to remember. So if you just remember curveball, okay, you'll be able to know, okay, C is contrast, U unity, R repetition, V variety, E emphasis, and B is balance. And what are the most important of those two? The most important two of those ones? Claire?
The repetition and balance.
Repetition and balance are the things you want to make sure that you have in your poster, okay? And I could show you more things. Here's product design, same product design. Here's interior design. Here's another packaging design. Really quick, center of interest, Addison?
The star.
Big star, okay? Center of interest here. This is interior design. What thing stands out, different size, shape, or color? Maggie?
Like white wall in the back.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I think it's this here. Big chili box, big huge letters. How about this building? What stands out because different size, shape, or color? Josh? What part of the building stands out? Claire?
That like brown.
Yeah, there's the only thing that's a cylinder here is this tower area here, and it's rounded and it's covered with brick. But notice that same brick is in other parts of the building. So even though it stands out, it still fits in. Okay? Like earlier I showed you that thing with the teddy bear with the horn. The problem is that horn definitely stood out, but it didn't fit in. It was too different than everything else. Same thing like here. If I've got this building and then this thing was made out of chrome, wouldn't fit with the rest of the building. Okay? So here's that same building. You can center of interest here. You can see what's center of interest in this scene, this interior design scene. Somebody different. Alexa.
The vase.
The vase. It's round. It's a different color. There's chili box. Center of interest in this room. Pretty obviously, huh? It's the mirror. It's the one thing that's round. It's the one thing that's got color in it besides the other colors that are repeating. So any kind of building, any kind of design has the elements of design. You've seen this down in Milwaukee. Obviously, you've got lines and shapes and textures that are repeating in this. Okay? And that's it for now. So